The president is actually supposed to have heard of all the countries. Like we, the people, don't necessarily have to have heard of Lesotho. But the president is supposed to at least pretend to have heard of all the countries. But first, let's get into it. What a week. On Tuesday, Donald Trump delivered a speech to Congress filled with lies and grievances in what sounded more like a MAGA rally speech than a presidential address. It's Trump's special talent that he can make a speech both completely insane and deeply boring. It's one of those combinations that should be impossible, like hot and funny, or Jewish and digesting dairy. As promised, some Democratic congresswomen wore pink in protest. Powerful stuff. I see they borrowed a page from Sun Tzu's classic text, The Art of Putting on Fun Little Outfits. Congresswoman Teresa Leger Fernandez, head of the Democratic Women's Caucus, told Time magazine that pink is a color of power and protest. It's time to rev up the opposition and come at Trump loud and clear. But wearing a color is not a protest. It's a statement. But it's not a protest. You're allowed to wear pink. You're coordinating your outfits, but the outfits aren't loud and clear. No, they're maybe loud, but they're not necessarily clear. It's like watching Meghan Markle make popcorn. I know you think this is something, but until you explain it, it's nothing. Trump began his address with a declaration.
And to my fellow citizens, America is back.
Yeah, we're back. Measles is back. People needing their own chickens is back. Flying being an adventure is back. The speech was briefly interrupted when Democratic Texas Congressman Al Green caused a disruption and House Speaker Mike Johnson had him kicked out.
Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order.
Was a bit excessive when Lauren Boebert rolled out the congressional guillotine, but rules are rules. Green's shouts weren't exactly audible to TV viewers, but he explained his protest to reporters after getting the boot.
The president said he had a mandate, and I was making it clear to the president that he has no mandate to cut Medicaid.
Go off, King. Just go off a little louder next time, maybe. I don't know if that's as effective as wearing a color. I mean, with fascism on the rise, we're going to have to wear pretty bright color. The president then bragged about being reelected in spite of his criminal prosecutions.
And we have ended weaponized government where, as an example, a sitting president is allowed to viciously prosecute his political opponent, like me. How did that work out? Not too good. Not too good.
Honestly, got our asses. I mean, that's pretty cool. How did that work out? Fucking terribly. We got absolutely bodied. You're right. Got us. Fully fucking got us. Damn it. The president's speech leaned heavily into culture war issues, going after trans people pretty hard, as summed up in this applause line.
Our country will be woke no longer.
Stock market's tanking. There's going to be a black market for maple syrup. You need a small business loan to make a Denver omelet. Biggest job losses since the onset of the pandemic. But on the bright side, 5 trans athletes are going to have to stick to intramurals. When Trump did eventually touch briefly on inflation, it wasn't to offer his plan to bring down soaring prices, but to blame Joe Biden.
Joe Biden especially let the price of eggs get out of control. The egg price is out of control.
You know what, Trump? Okay, fine. You can still blame Joe Biden. You can't be expected to have solved every problem. You still get to seem young and engaged by virtue of comparison. But TikTok, bitch, you promise pizza day every Friday. And it's already been 6 Fridays, no pizza. Pretty soon, America's going to forget who Joe Biden was because Joe Biden already forgot who Joe Biden was. Aw, he destroyed the country. All these people that are going to run for president in 2028, not one of them had the stones to challenge Joe Biden. And it's like, well, wasn't the person that's right to be president the kind of person who understood the need to step up and fight really hard? Or do You gotta wait your turn? Does Donald Trump wait for his turn? Is this a kind of politics? Is this a moment in history where people seem to wait for their turn? No, just our side, just our sweet, sweet Democrats always looking for a line to stand in. While Republicans run over the barricades. The Democratic Party as a group of people are in zone 4, looking as Republican in zone 6, just walk right in front of them, right onto the plane, over and over again. We're just a party of people in zone 4, watching people in zone 6 put their bags in the overhead, while we wonder if there will be room when we get on the plane. Republicans are like, we got bags. These people are idiots. We're getting on the fucking plane. Our bags are going in the overhead. And we're like, I wish somebody would do something about this. Just get on the plane. Yeah, all right. Trump got big laughs when listing purported examples of fraud that Doge had uncovered.
$8 million to promote LGBTQI+ in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of. $8 million for making mice transgender.
What, you think it's cheap to make a mouse trans? You think tiny little androgynous mouse clothes grow on trees? Do you know how hard it is to dye a little mouse's hair blue? To make the AirPods small enough to play Mitski? Also, the president is actually supposed to have heard of all the countries. Like we, the people, don't necessarily have to have heard of Lesotho. But the president is supposed to at least pretend to have heard of all the countries. Trump also defended his tariffs on Mexico and Canada with an uplifting message to Americans.
There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much. No, you're not. Oh.
A little disturbance is when your mom asks a question at the movies, not when we've got troops at the border between Detroit and Windsor. The president also warned farmers worried about the tariffs that they may face a little bit of an adjustment period. Iowa pollster Ann Seltzer wasn't wrong. Iowa pollster Ann Seltzer was simply ahead of her time. Trump made the dubious promise that the tariffs will ultimately help American farmers, saying this.
Our farmers are going to have a field day right now. So to our farmers, have a lot of fun. I love you too.
Every day is a field day for farmers, you fucking idiot. In international news, unfortunately, the Zelensky-Trump-Vance bitch sesh unfolded after we recorded last week, but the fallout continues. J.D. Vance went on state TV to continue to trash talk Zelensky and insult some other allies while he was at it.
If you want real security guarantees, if you want to actually ensure that Vladimir Putin does not invade Ukraine again, the very best security guarantee is to give Americans economic upside in the future of Ukraine. That is a way better security guarantee than 20,000 troops from some random country that hasn't fought a war in 30 or 40 years.
So eat shit, families of British and French service members who died in Afghanistan serving alongside Americans answering the call to defend an ally. British and French newspapers attacked the vice president for his comments, calling him a clown, a disgrace, and J.D. dunce. Wait, am I British and French newspapers? Either way, I, for one, am proud to fight alongside Britain and France in the war against jizz diaper Vance. Got him. On Monday, Trump ordered a pause on U.S. military aid to Ukraine, and on Wednesday, CIA Director John Ratcliffe announced the end of intelligence sharing with Ukraine in an attempt to force Zelensky's hand. Of course, under Tulsi Gabbard, that intelligence is just bulletins like Putin's still handsome, so not sure how big a difference this is going to make. In domestic news this past week, Trump announced the creation of the Crypto Strategic Reserve, in which the U.S. would hold billions of various cryptocurrencies. God only knows why. And I'm not even talking about normal God. I'm talking about the new God Elon Musk believes in.
By the time these lawsuits are decided, we'll have digital God, so...
I can't wait. Analog God made me 5'6" and like 20% more ambitious than my talents allow, which is just enough of a delta to make life basically torture. The president announced on social media that the reserve would contain lesser-known crypto like XRP, Solana, and Cardano, as well as more commonly used currencies like Bitcoin and Ether. Now, you might ask yourself, why on earth would we need a strategic reserve of a volatile speculative digital currency other than to reward the crypto allies who spent millions getting him elected? By the way, before we came out, they actually did some kind of an announcement basically saying that the crypto reserve is it's bullshit. It's just they're not. It's just bullshit. It's made up of the currency they've already seized, and it seems like a way to save face for some of these crypto bros that are constantly sucking Donald Trump's dick digitally. In other news, Trump announced a 25% tariff on goods from Canada and Mexico, which sent markets reeling just before his joint address to Congress. We were always telling President Obama to wreck the stock market the day before his big speeches, but he never listened. Guess that's why he's not president anymore. Love It or Leave It is brought to you by Bombas. I got a lot of copy here, John. I'm skipping it.
Okay.
I'm skipping it. Let me tell you why. What's on these feet right now?
Bombas. I know that. I
Every
recognize
goddamn
those anywhere.
day. Every goddamn day. But I switched completely to Bombas. All right? I switched completely. I always had a couple Bombas in the drawer, but when Trump became president, I said, you know what? Something's got to give. And I want my feet to be just a little bit more comfortable. So I went on the internet. I went on Elon's internet, and I bought a ton of Bombas. I bought a whole bunch that are all the same so that I don't have any decisions in the morning. They're different color stripes. These are the gray stripes.
Yeah, no, I see that. I can see.
I got every stripe so that I have a different color stripe to match whatever clothes I'm wearing. So my stripes from my Bombas are always coordinated with my outfit every day. Sometimes that's just for me because they're in my pants and you don't know that. But sometimes it's for my gym shorts because they're great when I go to the gym. They're great when I go to the office. They've got dress socks. I'm a complete Bombas boy. I'm a Bombas boy.
I'm so happy for you.
Enjoy worldwide shipping to over 200 countries. Head over to bombas.com/loveit and use code LOVEIT for 20% off your first purchase. Let me see if I should have covered anything else here. They got dress socks. I got those. They're fantastic. Any other cushioned arch-hugging pairs? That's what I've got on right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it goes great with new spring socks, fresh white t-shirts, waterproof slides. I also have the slides. Those slides I've been wearing. Bombas. Head on over to bombas.com/loveit and use code LOVEIT for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/loveit. Code LOVEIT for 20% off your first purchase. Bombas.com/loveit. Use the code LOVEIT because if it's your first purchase, getting 20% off. Just get all the socks you could ever need till the day you die. That's what I recommend. Bombas.com/loveit. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, Jewish, threatened... I think it's cool. Threatened swift countermeasures in the escalating trade war, with Trudeau saying on Tuesday, this is a time to hit back hard and to demonstrate that a fight with Canada will have no winners. What a Canadian thing to say. Not that Trump will lose a fight with Canada, not that Canada will triumph, but just that a fight with Canada will have no winners. Trudeau addressed Trump at the news conference saying this.
Now, it's not in my habit to agree with the Wall Street Journal, but Donald, they point out that even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do.
Flattering Trump's ego. Good strategy. Probably a tactic he learned from his father, Fidel Castro. Just a conspiracy theory. Just another conspiracy the mainstream media has claimed is debunked. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying it hasn't been debunked. What about the second honeymoon? What about the second honeymoon? I'm serious. They all say the timing doesn't work out because of when the first honeymoon was, but they got to dig into the reported second honeymoon. The timing lines up on the second honeymoon. Pierre and Maggie had a lot of fun. Just saying. The Yaves went into a bowl and who knows whose Yaves came out. The Canadian Prime Minister also accused Trump of hoping for a total collapse of the Canadian economy because that would make it easier to annex us, which makes sense because breaking somebody's spirit until they don't believe they deserve any better wasn't just his trade strategy. That's always been Trump's dating strategy. And then on Thursday, Trump backed down completely, pausing tariffs on the vast majority of both Mexican and Canadian goods until April 2nd. That's only 4 weeks away, so be sure to stock up on your everything. Meanwhile, the former head of the Social Security Administration, Martin O'Malley, told CNBC that DOJ's proposed cuts to the department will jeopardize payments to the over 72 million people who receive Social Security, warning of a system collapse and the interruption of benefits in the next 30 to 90 days. I'm hoping it's 90 because I'd like to finish this season of White Lotus in peace before my parents have to move in. Do you always keep the house this cold? You could just ask for me to turn it warmer. That's just simply, you don't have to ask, you know what I mean? It's just ask the question. I'm happy to make it warmer. Do I always keep it this cold? Okay. Considering the likelihood that the payment system could become unreliable, O'Malley warned people should start saving now. Don't worry, I'm sure your grandpa will be fine if he just cuts back on luxuries like baked potato and the lady that comes to his house to make sure he's not dead. Unbelievable. In other Doge news, the Trump administration will reportedly cut 80,000 jobs from the Department of Veterans Affairs. Keep in mind, the VA not only serves veterans, 25% of the VA's employees are veterans themselves. Just a little math. Cutting 80,000 employees from the VA would save you around $8 billion per year while making life worse for millions of veterans, unless you think a 76-year-old veteran being told by an artificial intelligence kiosk that he has abdominal pain because he might be pregnant is a good time. Extending the Trump tax cuts will cost $4 trillion over 10 years. $8 billion, $4 trillion. Fun fact, a family making over $1 million would get an extra $70,000 on average from the tax cut, roughly equivalent to the salary a lot of the veterans who are about to be fired. Isn't that fun? Isn't that one-to-one comparison kind of fun? They don't like that, the Republicans, when you actually break out the numbers and say, oh, the Trump tax cuts will give a family with $1 million just an extra $70,000. Just an extra $70,000 in the pack, roughly the amount you might pay a nurse working at a VA hospital somewhere. That's the choice we're making. They don't want to make it like it's a choice, but that's the choice we're making. And I'll tell you something. I went from making government money, I made some sitcom money, then I spent it in a period of clinical depression, and then I made some podcast money. And that was surprising, because that was really never the goal. And you'd think it would make me kind of maybe relate more to these rich people, right? Like, I understand there's always more. There's always more you could want. The idea that there are people out there with millions of dollars, let alone billions of dollars, complaining about federal taxes, these people are fucking sick. They are sick. They are sick to be anything other than appreciative for the luck and good fortune to get to be in America and make money at America, that they are fucking counting every penny going to the federal government, when the fact that we have some redistribution to make palatable this system that allows you to live this incredible life, how fucking dare you? It is sick. And all of this, all of the fucking attacks on the trans people and targeting the immigrants and vilifying DEI, all of it is part of a big circus, a big carnival funded by billionaires to distract us from the very simple fact that on one side, you're going to give millionaires an extra $100,000, and on the other side, you're going to fire a nurse. That's it. Everything is about distracting us from that. Everything. And it just has been bothering me lately. All right, yeah, sure. Donald Trump also signed an executive order declaring English the official language of the United States. This is obviously divisive, but it polls 80-20 among people who say Chipotle. In the meantime, Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins has a suggestion for Americans looking for cheaper eggs.
I think the silver lining in all of this is, how do we, in our backyards, we've got chickens too in our backyard, how do we solve for something like this? And people are sort of looking around thinking, wow, well, maybe I could get a chicken in my backyard, and it's awesome.
This just in, Trump's Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins has been revealed to be a coyote. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service also helpfully suggested that Americans start chowing down on nutria, a large amphibious rodent, to help control the invasive species population. I hope they taste as good as they look. I'm not sure why eating them is a necessary step. Can't we just kill them? All right, it's an invasive species. Let's kill them. It seems like we don't have to eat them. Eric Adams didn't tell New Yorkers to start snacking on the rats. And you know what? He's usually on the wrong side of stuff. I'm sort of changing my mind on this. A New Jersey man was arrested this week after robbing 14 Dunkin' Donuts in 2 months. Hey, man, I know you're going through a hard time, but I don't think that's going to impress Jennifer Garner. A Danish performance artist left 3 piglets to starve to death in protest of the pork industry, only to discover that the trio were stolen in a heist organized by his own employee. Looks like these little piggies are going to the black market. I hope they taste as good as they look. LA's pricey Erewhon grocery store chain is once again going viral online, this time thanks to a fancy strawberry from Japan that is being sold for $19 per berry. The strawberry has been described as delicious by at least one emperor parading naked before his subjects. Kennedy, bring out the inequity berry. Oh, in fact, we discussed getting a berry from the Erewhon on our company card. But it was sold out. That's right. The $19 Japanese strawberry sold one at a time is sold out. What a society. I thought it would have been funny if we had one and then I dropped it and stepped on it. Or even pretended to have a whole basket of them and just like, whoa, Mr. Beaned it. Some of my famous prop work. And finally, scientists have bred woolly mice, seen in this clip being extremely hairy and adorable, as part of their effort to resurrect the woolly mammoth. So cute. I hope they taste as good as they look. Scientists say the next step is to turn the dial on those woolly mice all the way up to trans. It's going to be expensive, though.